Perimenopause is not menopause. It is that difficult transition between our fertility years into the power era of menopause.
Is it a wild ride?
Perimenopause definitely is a wild ride. We're also turning into little monsters because we're also going through a hormonal transition. I need to be the priority now because if I don't clean it up,
No one's doing it for you.
exactly, because progesterone and estradiol aren't there holding my hand anymore. So now I have to take responsibility for myself. I'm now 2 years deep into menopause. I have never been at more peace in my life than I am now. We don't need to be shredded to be fit and healthy. So my biggest piece of advice is
Menopause is often described as a phase to survive. But what if we looked at it as a phase to thrive? Stronger, healthier, and with a dose of humor after all. Who doesn't like a laugh? Hi, I'm Gayu Lewis, a board-certified integrative nutrition, health and menopause coach, and this is the Gayu Lewis Podcast, where we open up conversations about women's wellness, health, and everything in the middle. My goal is to help women feel heard, seen, supported, and inspired during midlife and beyond. Joining me today is Dawn Raquel, the powerhouse behind Moxie Menopause. She's a certified level 3 personal trainer, a menopause coach, and someone who's walked this journey herself. What I love about Dawn is how she brings equal parts of knowledge and humor to the table. Because let's be honest, menopause doesn't need to be all doom and gloom. She believes in helping women stay strong, confident, and energized through fitness, mindset, and practical tools that actually fit into real life. So grab a cup of tea, settle in, and get ready to laugh a little while learning a lot too. Because menopause doesn't always need to be serious. It deserves a laugh too. Dawn, welcome to the Gayu Lewis Podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I feel so honored, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. I was like, wow, that woman sounds amazing. And that woman's me. But it's really, what you said there really encapsulates who I am and what I want to do for other women, to give them hope that menopause is actually our power era. And we're moving into a new phase of life, and it isn't doom and gloom. This isn't the end of the train. Like, the ride is just starting. Yeah, so it's very exciting.
So is it a wild ride?
Perimenopause definitely is a wild ride. And one thing that I really want to get across to women today is that perimenopause is not menopause. It is that difficult transition between our fertility years into the power era of menopause. But there is some discomfort and in a change, because a lot is happening. Our brains are restructuring, our hormones are restructuring, and when you understand what those hormones used to do for you and what they're not doing for you anymore because they're taking a hike, then you understand that you're not broken. It's just that things are changing, and so we need to start approaching things in a bit of a different way. So one thing that I like to, I love to think about things in word pictures. If I can describe something, and then it makes more sense, right? So for instance, if you're working with an Android phone and then you go over to an Apple phone, you start swiping it in all sorts of ways, and it's like, oh, this phone is dumb. I don't know how it works. Like, I can't make this phone work. But there's nothing wrong with the Android system, and there's nothing wrong with the Apple iOS system either. Equally, just as effective, they work really well, they're efficient, they get what's done, needs to get done. But we just need to know how to swipe properly. We need to know how to push the buttons properly. But if you push the buttons on an Apple phone the way that you did on an Android phone, it's not going to work the same,
Yeah.
So it's like that. So we're moving from one operating system into another, and we just need to know how to push our buttons in the right way to get our body to do the things that it used to do. Now we want them to do it again, but we need to approach it a little bit differently.
I loved how you said that. But most of the time, women don't even know how their body works in different phases of life.
Oh, no.
Right?
Yeah.
We are not taught a lot about puberty. We are not taught a lot about fertility and the whole pregnancy at that time. We learn as it goes,
Exactly.
right? And then when this perimenopause ride hits us, and this hits in a very different way, how do women then understand that, listen, I am now moving from an iPhone to an Android and I need to know how this works?
Right. Well, I think it's important to understand that we're not broken. We are in a transition time. I do think that it's nature's cruel joke that often we are going through this transition time, which is really a second puberty. At the same time that if we're mothers and our daughters are starting to go into puberty, that crazy time, between the age of 13 and 15, they're like, you don't know who they are anymore. They turn into little monsters. We're also turning into little monsters because we're also going through a hormonal transition. And I really think it's nature's cruel joke that we're doing it at the same time, and then nobody knows what is what and what's going on. And we're not necessarily reacting in a way that makes sense even to us. We seem strangers to our own selves, and we feel lost and this kind of thing. But just to know that it's not forever. Perimenopause is not menopause. Perimenopause is a crazy ride, but it really smooths out afterwards. And I love menopause. I love it so much. I tell my daughter every time she goes through a cycle, I'm like, oh, I don't miss that at all. I'm like, do you know what I love? The stage that I'm in. Like, I just love it so much because it used to happen because I've been strength training for about 10 years.
Yeah.
And like you said, a lot of us don't know what's going on with us hormonally at any stage of life. And so I didn't understand. Now that I've been studying menopause, I wish I knew what I know now about my fertility cycle. I would have approached things a lot differently, but there's always a point where all of a sudden I wasn't strong in the gym anymore. I wasn't hitting the same weights that I was like the week previous. And then all of a sudden I'm hitting the weights, but it was always those 5 to 7 days before my cycle was about to start, like my period was about to start. There's always a dip of strength, and that's because of progesterone. So when you understand the hormones and what they do and their characteristics, I like to frame them as characters and what they do for us, then you can be a lot more empathetic to yourself and kind to yourself and just understand what's going on. And so if I had understood all of that, then things would have been just a lot more smooth. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, but because I like you're saying that women generally tend to punish themselves and our bodies because they feel that, oh, I did this when I was in 20. Why is it not working?
Right.
I need to work out more. I need to stop eating.
Yep.
We do all the wrong stuff.
Yeah.
And then you're complaining that, oh, I'm just putting on weight. This belly fat is just not reducing. And I always tell women, it's because you're not understanding, you're not helping your body. You're trying to starve it. And when it's in starvation, it wants to hold on to all the fat that it can.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be like, oh,
yeah,
I need to survive.
Exactly.
And I always tell, you've got to eat. You've got to be a bit more open in terms of how your body's working. And again, work with your cycles.
Right, exactly.
Don't
and so
force yourself.
appropriately, I always refer to it as appropriate nourishment. So appropriately nourish yourselves. We're no longer starving ourselves. Carbs are not the enemy.
Yeah.
There's no food group really that is, but it's important to find out because even within each food group, there can be foods that inflame you.
Yeah.
And so inflammation becomes a big issue in perimenopause and menopause because we're losing those fertility hormones. So when you understand what they do, so there's estradiol, which is because estrogen, we actually have 3 different types. There's estradiol, which is that nice, potent, beautiful, she's a lovely hormone. She does so much for us. This is the one that we have through our fertility years. Then there's estriol, which shows up during pregnancy, and then there's estrone, which is what I am left with now post-menopause. So it's a misnomer to say that we're losing estrogen. I still have estrogen, I just have a weaker form. She just doesn't like to do much. But estradiol did so much, and when we understand, I used to think that it was just about the egg. Estrogen just helps the egg to pop out and then that's it. No, like she does so much. She's integral in brain function, in serotonin. She's a precursor to serotonin production, which is that happy hormone in the brain. She helps our liver to detox. She helps our gut microbiome to level itself out. She actually helps our cells, like at a cellular level, the mitochondria, she helps the mitochondria to clean out the cell. So this is why menopausal women will say, I just feel heavy. I don't know what it is. And it's true. We are heavier even at a cellular level because the mitochondria can't keep up with the clean out of the cell because estradiol is taking a hike. Estradiol is, everybody says she's the good estrogen, but I would like to reframe her. She is a good estrogen. She does a lot for us. She's like the little mummy hormone, same as progesterone. She also does the same thing. Progesterone does a lot for our central nervous system, keeping us calm, all of these things. They do a lot in the background for us. They're like little mummies. And they do everything for us. I feel a bit like they're enablers. They enable us into bad behavior because we got away with all sorts of stuff. We could eat anything we wanted. We could behave any way that we wanted. We could drink anything that we wanted. We could introduce all sorts of like toxins into by either our body or relationships. We could take on stress. We could do it all. And then once we start losing those, then we lose that capacity to take that on, and then our body builds up all of this inflammation and all this toxicity, and then we think that we're broken, and we're not. It's just that we're not allowed to get away with all this behavior that we were getting away with in our 20s and our 30s because we don't have these little mummies that are cleaning up behind us and being like, oh, don't worry, I'll clean up your room for you, because now I'm left with estrone, and she's like, nah, I'm tired. I'm not doing it for you. You want to live in that filthy room? Then you can live in that filthy room. Nobody's cleaning it up for you. Like if you want it cleaned up, then you have to do it yourself. And that's really, so in a way, I understand why estrone gets a bad rap because she's not doing all of those things. But I'm also thankful to her because she's actually making me grow up and take accountability for myself. If I want my body to be cleaned up, I have to clean it up. And it really has, menopause, I feel, has really, it's like me on pause. It's really made me take a step back, and I have to listen to myself. I have to pay attention to what is it that I'm putting into my mouth, and how does it make me feel, not just in this moment, but maybe the next day, maybe the next day. I pay attention to joint pain. I pay attention to brain fog and clarity, because those are all signs of inflammation. So when I don't have those happy little hormones that are the little mummy hormones that are clearing things up and saying, oh, I can see that stuff is kind of getting backed up here. I'm going to help the mitochondria clean out for you. And you're starting to get a little bogged down. Don't worry, I got your back. And then she's not there anymore, and I'm left with estrone, and she's like, nah, I'm not doing it. Then we have to do it ourselves, and I have to pay attention to myself. And then all of a sudden, I'm streamlining my life into what is a priority for me, not what's priority for everybody else. And all of a sudden, I'm just like, sorry, I can't take responsibility for you, because I need to be the priority now, because if I don't clean it up, if I don't take care of it, nobody is. Yeah. Nobody is. And that's really what happens, I think, a lot in perimenopause with the women that I've coached through. I find that the women who, and this also happened to me, because we're trying to hold on to this past version of ourselves, right? And the more that we try to hang on to that, but we aren't that anymore, because we're losing those hormones and we're moving into a new era. But the more we try to stay there, but we can feel that we don't want to. Because hormonally, the hormones are telling us, no, we should listen to our hormones. If they say no, then no, don't do it, Yeah. And but we keep fighting ourselves and beating ourselves up and saying, but I should, because I always have, and this is what people are expecting of me, and I should do this, and then we do that, and then we get angry, and we get angry at ourselves, and we get angry at everybody else, because I don't want to, but I feel like I have to, and so then there's this push and this pull, and I find the women who accept it and say, actually, I'm moving into a new phase. There's so much more peace that comes to it, even in the midst of the chaoticness of perimenopause, because there's an acceptance, and it's okay. It's okay that you don't want to do that. It's okay that you're not taking care of everybody the way that you used to, and it's okay that you're making yourself a priority. This is really hard for a lot of women to make themselves a priority, but it's absolutely essential, and it's absolutely essential in this phase of life, and then especially in that chaoticness. Yeah. Because what's happening is that estradiol is peaking and diving, and peaking and diving, and peaking and diving, because what happens in a regular cycle is that estradiol usually rises from your first day of your period. It rises until the ovulation happens. And then she starts taking a little dip, because progesterone is supposed to come on the scene. But then in perimenopause, because we're having more of these anovulatory cycles, we don't ovulate. It doesn't become a gland. Because did you know that this is how it happens? This is what I've learned through, I went through how many cycles and I didn't understand how progesterone worked. But when we ovulate, that follicle turns in on itself and becomes a gland, which then gets its own blood supply and starts pumping out the progesterone. If we don't ovulate, that doesn't happen, the progesterone doesn't start coming out. So what happens during perimenopause is that we have more cycles where we're not ovulating. And so then estradiol peaks, and then she's like, my job's done, I'm good. Yeah. And so now what I'm gonna do is start going down because progesterone should be coming along here any second. Wait, no, she's not? Okay, I guess I'm going back up again because I guess we didn't make that egg ovulate. So then she dives back up. And then she's like, I'm pretty sure we're past day 14. So we're going to go back down. And then it's like, wait, no, but progesterone's still not here. So I guess I'm not done. So then this is why we're getting these mad. And this is also why we can't just go into the doctor and get a blood test done and find out where we're at in perimenopause, because that's just a snapshot in time. Because you can actually have fluctuations so erratic that in the morning, it'll be one level, in the afternoon, it'll be a different level, and in the evening, in a different level. Yeah. So we're just all over the place. Like, no wonder we feel like we're just losing it, because we are. And then so the rage that can happen is very real. Like I had, I was a coach at the time, and I lost it very significantly on one member, I remember, and I had to apologize to her in front of the whole gym. It was so embarrassing. And, because you just lose it sometimes. And afterwards, you're like, what happened to me, And one time I was driving down the road and I had my protein shake. And this guy cut me off and my protein shakes spilled over. And my protein shakes, let me tell you, they are special. Like, I don't just do the basic, like just one scoop of the protein powder and then water. Yeah. No, I have almond milk in there, okay? I have Mexican vanilla. I do use special like cinnamon, like this.
Ashwagandha.
Yeah.
I follow you,
so
I know
I have all the things.
The creatine, everything that you measure, lion's mane, that you actually measure and you put into your...
So this is a very custom, special to my needs protein shake. And half of it spilled over because this guy cut me off. I was so mad, like the rage and I couldn't even think my way through it. And I drove up beside him, I rolled my window down and I threw the rest of it out the car window. I was like, you might as well have the rest of it. And I go, like this. Well, what happens when you're driving fast down the road and you throw something liquid out the window? It didn't hit him at all. It all went down the side of my white car, like a big old badge of menopausal rage on her. Like, this woman is losing it. Like, it was just like, and I remember him looking over and being like, what is going on? Because I don't even think he realized he had cut me off. But I was so mad. And I was just like, and now I'm going to be, not only did my protein shake like slip over and I've lost it, but now I'm going to go hungry, and now I have however many hours ahead, and now I'm going to lose muscle, and now all this. And then I was just like so angry. And so many women that I've coached, and not even those that I've coached, but women that I talk to, they say it's the rage. Like, I don't know, like I'm losing myself. I get mad at my kids. I get mad at my husband. And I say, it's not you. Like, this isn't really you. This is a hormonal time that you're going through that does create all of this erraticness, but also it's a signal to you that you need to start making yourself a priority, and we can't be everything to everybody anymore because we're losing those little nurturing hormones that nurtured us so that we were able to nurture everybody else. Now we're moving into a new time, and it doesn't mean that I don't care about people, because I do, and it doesn't mean that I don't care and love my kids and nurture them, but it's in a different way. And actually, I'm making space because my daughter now is 20, so she's moving into her fertility years. She has all of those beautiful fertility mummy hormones. So I'm making way actually for her to take the reins of the space that I used to take. So I don't need to be there anymore. It's my turn to now go into this other new phase. But there's always a difficulty in that transition, and especially when we don't allow allow ourselves the space to accept it. And then I really feel like that's where a lot of the rage comes from, because then we're just mad at everybody for everything. But a lot of that is also turned on ourselves because we should be better. We should be more nurturing. We should be doing this because we did it all along. But we're not. And it's okay because we're going into something new.
Yeah. So you spoke a lot about the whole hormonal roller coaster. Did you ever consider taking hormone replacement therapy?
I did actually, because I was thinking, well, I'm getting to that age, I probably should. And then I started studying and I became a menopause specialist coach specifically for strength training. And one of the first things that she said was, you don't have to, like when I was going through my course material, the first thing that was said in the first module was, you don't have to take hormone therapy. And that was mind-blowing to me. And because a lot of the things that hormone therapy helps you with, you can actually address a lot of those things through nutrition, lifestyle habits, and exercise, weight training, and other things. And so I was like, because do you know what? Honestly, I'm cheap. Like, I don't like to spend money on things if I don't have to. So if I don't have to spend money on it, then I'm not going to. If I have to eat anyway, and I have to exercise anyway, because the thing is hormone therapy doesn't do it all.
Yeah.
Right? So you're still going to have to eat in a certain way. You're still going to have to exercise in a certain way, because hormone therapy doesn't help you build muscle. And we desperately need to build muscle and maintain that muscle through menopause. And as we're getting older and into our elderly years, it's imperative. Hormone therapy doesn't do that for me. So I need to do the resistance training. But the resistance training also deals with some other things that hormone therapy deals with. So actually, my nutrition, my strength training, and my lifestyle habits, it covers all of it. Whereas hormone therapy only covers a certain amount, and what it doesn't cover, I still have to do the weight training. So then I might as well just do it in a way that serves my system, right? And then I save money. It's really what it is. Because I'm just like, I'm really, I don't want to use the word stingy. That's not the right word. But I'm very frugal with my finances and also with my time. So I don't want to be spending a lot of time chasing after quick fixes or something that maybe isn't going to work. Or I also don't want to be at the mercy of somebody else. So what if all of a sudden all of the hormone therapy disappears? Then I'm at the mercy of somebody else. Like, I can't get my supply. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't want to be at the mercy of anybody else. I really like to be in the control of my own empire. My empire is my body and my mind and my energy and my mindset. This is my empire, and I want to be in control of it. And so if I can control that through what I have to eat anyways. So I might as well eat in a way that serves me. I have to exercise anyways. I might as well exercise in a way that serves me. So this is why. I'm not anti-hormone therapy. I believe for some people it really, really works. So I'm not going to answer for anybody. I'm not going to shame anybody for taking it. But I am hormone therapy avoidant. And I would like to say to people, try to avoid it as much as possible. Because we have to eat anyway. So eat in a way that serves you. You have to exercise anyway. Exercise in a way that serves you. And if you've really done all of that stuff and you're still suffering, then of course, do what you need to do to get it done. But really, I think that, and for me, it really has, I've been able to manage it through my diet, my lifestyle, and my exercise, for sure.
How does one day in your life look like? So you spoke about fitness, nutrition, and lifestyle being the three main thing that you focus on. So what does your day look like?
My day looks like, am I going to be really honest about it? Okay, I wake up in the morning and I'll listen to a true crime podcast because nothing relaxes me more than murder. So I know you're supposed to meditate and stuff in the morning, but I just love it.
Murders excite you more.
Yeah, I just love it. And and then I'll play a little Candy Crush while I'm listening to that. I'll have a cup of coffee. Then I get up, I feed my cats, I do all my household chores. I get ready for the gym, and then I go to the gym. Oh, I make my protein shake, my very special one. I make sure to put a lid on it now so that it doesn't spill and I don't get angry at anybody, And then I head to the gym. I put music on that motivates me. I do the gym, then I go home, and then I'll make sure that I nourish myself after my workout with something that I like. And then I'll do stuff in the afternoon, work for either social media stuff for my business, do things because I'm doing a lot of online stuff. And then I hang out with my cats. I love line dancing. That's a new thing that I started doing. So I've actually started incorporating that into like almost every day. I do at least 1 or 2 dances. I just love dancing. It just brightens my mind. It makes me happy. I stopped doing traditional HIIT. Now HIIT serves my system. Now when I say HIIT workouts, I'm talking about a certain heart rate. Okay, so what a lot of women do wrong with HIIT is they go to a HIIT class. So it's a 60-minute class. That's actually not a HIIT class. It's a circuit training class because none of us are working at the heart rate level that we need to be working at. True HIIT is between 80 to 90% of your max heart rate zone. So nobody can keep that up for 60 minutes. Nobody can even keep that up for 40 minutes. Yeah. And if you watch, and I've done these classes too, you always keep something in the tank. Because how embarrassing is it to like tank out and be like, well, I'm too tired to finish this workout after 20 minutes and then you have to leave. Like that's embarrassing. It's like, oh, I'm too tired. But actually, if you did it right, you would. Because you can really only keep it up for a max of 20 minutes if you're keeping your heart rate up in that level. But that's what we need in perimenopause and menopause, because what it does, one thing that estradiol used to do for us is she used to pull the glucose up out of our bloodstream into our system, into our soft tissues, to be used as energy. But estrone doesn't do that. She's just like, nah, it's too heavy. I'm tired. She really is like a menopausal woman, estrone. She's like, I'm not doing it for you. Like if you want to do it, you have to do it yourself. I'm not doing it. I'm tired. And I've got other things to do, like eat your bones and eat your muscle. So I'm busy over here destructing stuff and I'm not doing it for you. And so now we have to do it for ourselves. And one way that we can do that is by creating a metabolic reaction in our body where our body is like, we need mad energy real fast and start pulling the glucose up. And that's what HIIT does. So if you get into true HIIT, if you're only getting to 60% of your max heart rate, you're not getting that metabolic reaction. If you get to between 80 and 90%, you're going to get that reaction where your body is like, we need this glucose because we need to start making ATP. We need to start making fast energy because she's not stopping. Yeah. We keep telling her to stop. And this is why in HIIT, you'll hear it in your brain. You need to quit now because like we're tired. And you have to
You're going to die. You're going to die.
And you're not going to die. And a lot of people, like they know me in the gym because I'm so loud and like I'll yell and stuff like that. And that's because I'm trying to drown out that voice saying you need to stop, because no, I need to push past that voice because I need to create that metabolic reaction. I need to pull that glucose up out of my bloodstream because it doesn't matter what you eat. It's going to turn into glucose to be used as energy in the system. So this is why in perimenopause and menopause, women will say, I don't know what's going on. I'm eating the same and I'm exercising the same and I'm getting fat. And I don't know why. And it's because we're losing those nice little fertility hormones that used to do all this work for us in the background. And we're also not adjusting how we're working out in order to create these reactions in our body. As soon as we start understanding what used to be going on, what isn't happening anymore, and now I'm going to do these things in an appropriate way, then all of a sudden we're creating these reactions and the belly fat starts going away. But also, if you stop doing it, it stops happening. So it goes backwards very quickly. Like within 2 weeks, if I stop doing it, within 2 weeks, my belly fat comes back because I don't have those hormones anymore. Whereas before, I could work out in my 20s and my 30s and take 2 weeks off and I wouldn't see any difference. Now, if I stopped on Sunday and I didn't work out, like within 2 weeks, like 10 days, things are going sideways in a bad way, because if I'm not doing it,
no one's doing it for you.
Exactly, because progesterone and estradiol aren't there holding my hand anymore. So now I have to take responsibility for myself all of the time. Like, this is my life now. This isn't just a quick fix. We need to understand our system and move into this new era, and we need to start doing things. And sometimes we say we're doing it selfishly, and I wish we would stop saying that. It's not selfish.
It's self-care.
It's self-care and self-preservation. And honestly, it's preservation for everybody else. Because if I'm not doing this and not taking care of myself, I will be living out one of my true crime podcasts. Like, that's just going to happen. And maybe that's why I listen to it in the morning and as a warning to myself. It's like, listen, you would be one of these ladies if you didn't, you need to go in and do this. But I have noticed that as I've gotten deeper into menopause, so now I'm post-menopause by over a year. So it's been over 2 years since I've had my last period. And I am noticing that as I'm getting deeper and deeper into my menopausal journey, that I'm just not as angry anymore. And so I can't do the traditional HIIT the way that I used to. So I would do like kettlebell swings, I would do box jumps. And through perimenopause, because I got divorced during perimenopause, which is also typical during that age, a lot of marriages suffer during that time. So I had the trauma of my divorce, I had trauma of like post-divorce, rebuilding my life and all of that stress, plus perimenopause. And I didn't even realize what I was going through at the time because I didn't actually start studying menopause until about a year before I hit menopause. Okay. So, and looking back at my symptoms, it was probably about 7 years, that whole transition leading up to that one day of like, this is my anniversary of not having a period, right? So it really served me, like HIIT workouts, like the kettlebell swings, the box jumps, all that stuff, because you just get angry. Do you know what I mean? In order to get your heart rate up, it's just like, oh yeah, like I'm just gonna smash this. I'm doing all these kettlebell swings. It was really great because it helped to feed into that rage. You know, it really exercised it. Exorcised it. Do you get what I mean? Like an exercise, an exorcise. That was clever. I just came up with that right now. That was pretty cute. Anyway, so it really served me at that point. But now I'm finding I'm just not angry enough anymore. Like I'll do the kettlebell swings and I'm like, I just don't want to do it. Like I don't. I'm not angry enough. I can't. Like it takes a lot of work and effort to like, and I just want to do things that make me happy. And then I discovered line dancing. And that gets my heart rate up. So I'll do like 3 or 4 songs, like I'll dance through them. My heart rate goes up. I stay within that heart rate zone for between 10 to 20 minutes. It does the trick. My belly fat goes down. I'm happy. I'm having a great time. I do it in the middle of the gym. I think other people are entertained. I don't know. I see them smiling. So I figure that they like it. Or maybe they're just laughing at me. But that's fine. They can laugh at me if they like. I'm happy. I don't really care anymore, you know? And so it's just like I do things that serve me, but then I do it in a way because I understand what my body needs. My body needs this heart rate zone because I need the glucose to be pulled up out of there. How that happens, it doesn't matter. I could run, like I could do sprints. I don't like running. I really don't. I love lifting weights. I admire people who run. They are the cool people, like really, honestly. They say that they forget that they are running. There is not 1 second that I forget that I am running. I remember every single step of it. And I'm like, are we done yet? Like, I hate it so much. And so if somebody said to me, you have to run in order to be fit and healthy, I just wouldn't. I wouldn't do that. So my biggest piece of advice is understand your system and then find the activity that gets you to move, that you enjoy. It doesn't have to be misery. It doesn't have, like, I love weightlifting. I don't understand people who don't love weightlifting. And I understand that there's people who, it's just not their thing. They don't like the gym. And I'm like, then find the activity that will help you to build muscle and get you moving, really is what you need to do. And do what makes you happy. Like, honestly, we deserve it. We've been through a lot.
True. You spoke about whole, muscle building. One of the main important element is food and protein. And the whole, everyone talks about protein. You got to have 2 grams of protein per kg of body weight. But women in general, they get bored of this story, right? Like, how do I eat? I don't want to eat so much. I'm trying to push. Is there any advice that you can share as a fitness trainer, someone who looks as sexy as you're hitting 50? I know that.
Yes.
But what is there any advice that you can give women to make this this experience more enjoyable?
Right. Again, so it goes along with the exercise. Find what you love that makes you move. Find the foods that you love. So when I first started eating healthy, I was really surprised to find out that strawberries are healthy. I had always connected them with chocolate, right? Because we dip them in chocolate. Or I connected them with champagne, right? Because you eat them with champagne. And so I always thought, well, strawberries can't be healthy for you. They're bad for you. And it's just like, no, actually, you can eat a lot. And it's low calorie. It's great fiber, antioxidants, all of this stuff. Like, it's fantastic. Have strawberries every day. Do that, And so I just approach every plate. What am I going to do that I'm going to eat that's sustainable? And by sustainable, I mean, I'm going to like eating it, because if I don't like eating it, then after some time, I'm just not going to, that's not sustainable then, right? So we need to find foods that we enjoy, And this is what I do in my coaching. I never give people a meal plan. What we do is we work with, what do you like to eat? And then we're going to restructure it in order to fit what you actually also need. And so, yes, women need to be eating enough protein. We determine how much of it is that you need to eat. I typically like to split it up into 4 meals. So basically 3 big, like hefty meals and a snack of some sort, right? Rather than lots of little. I don't like spending a lot of time in the kitchen. Actually, that's a lie. I do like spending time in the kitchen. I don't like spending time in the kitchen when I'm rushed. Okay. And I love spending time with a new recipe, but only if I have the time to do it. I like linger, I love it, I love the chopping, I love all of that. But if I'm in a rush, no. Then I just want something quick and easy. So what I do is I find 3 breakfasts that I like and I enjoy. And I make sure that, and always because I know my macros, right? So I know how much of it that I need to eat of each thing. And then I just have it set. So I have 3 set meals for breakfast. I have 3 set meals for my lunches, and I have 3 set meals for my dinners, and I rotate through those through the week. Then on the weekends, when I have more time to be a little bit luxurious with my time, and maybe I can practice with like a new recipe or whatever, then that's when I will be finicky with a recipe or whatever. But during the week, it's pretty simple. And I have those 3 staples, and I like them. And I enjoy them. And so if you have 3, 3, 3, what's that? That's 9 meals over, so it's 5 days times 4, 3. So that's 15. I'm really only repeating a meal a couple of times. Yeah. I'm not eating the same thing all the time. So it's pretty diverse. And also, like, one of my favorite ones is a Greek yogurt bowl. And that's also very high protein. So I like that. I put in a little bit of, I want to say Splenda, but it's not.
Yeah,
Stevia. That's it. Thank you. So stevia, a little bit of, I put lemon, fresh lemon in there, and some vanilla. Okay. And then it's sort of like a lemon cheesecake sort of like taste. And then maybe depending on what I can eat that day as far as like my macros, I'll put in a Weetabix because I like the fiber. I put my berries, whether it's raspberries, blueberries, or strawberries. I love that. A little bit of almond butter, but I've learned that I don't like putting the almond butter in it. I like to have it on the side because I like to just, I like having
a spoonful of the butter.
And then I just lick it off. And I just, so eat in a way that like you enjoy it, you know? So you don't have to put everything all in there. If you like to eat the blueberries separately, then do that. If you like blending it in, then do that. Do whatever makes you happy and makes it a sustainable food plan, because we need to nourish ourselves appropriately for life. Like, this isn't a quick fix. We're not doing a 6-week transformation thing. We're learning how to eat properly
for the rest of our life.
For the rest of our lives. And we're not starving ourselves. So I've had women come through and they're quite surprised. They're like, this is a lot of food. I'm like, yeah. We women notoriously undernourish ourselves. Yeah. We undernourish ourselves, but then we also overeat. It's kind of funny.
I think over snack as well. Mm-hmm. Random stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And we don't realize how many calories we're taking in with all of these random snacks. And the reason why we're snacky, so here's another thing, estradiol helps to suppress your hunger. That's when you've been satiated. When estradiol helps with that, when we lose her, that's why we get more snacky in perimenopause and menopause. Because in perimenopause, we're getting these mad peaks and crashes. So when she crashes, she's not there, then we're hungry, then we're snacky. So this is why it's important that we get enough of that protein, because protein helps us to feel full. So it helps us, it supports us without the estradiol. So as soon as, like, I can tell when I haven't been eating enough protein because immediately I get snacky. And I'm just like, my kids will know. I'll be getting up off the couch. I'll be going back to the cupboard. I'll be going through their rooms. I'm like, because see, when I go grocery shopping, here's a good rule. You're not going to eat it if you don't buy it. So the first step of like resistance or, defense is don't buy it at the grocery store. And then you're not going to have it at home when you want to do less mindless snacking.
Yeah. And never go to grocery store
hungry.
Empty stomach.
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes I get upset at myself though, because I go to the cupboard and I'm like, why did good Dawn go to the grocery store? Because there's nothing here for me to snack on. Then I start rummaging through my kids' drawers. looking for snacks because I know that they have snacks. And that's what I know. It's like you need a substantial meal. That's what's actually going on. And then when I have a substantial meal with the appropriate amount of protein and fiber, because we need the fiber in order to process the protein. So we can't just be doing keto. We need to be appropriately nourishing ourselves. And that's when I know is when I'm like, I need to have something. Oh man. But because I don't have those hormones, as soon as I stop doing it for myself, it stops happening. I have to do it. I have to do it today. I have to do it tomorrow. I'm going to have to do it 5 years from now. This is my life now. And I've come to accept it. I don't begrudgingly do it. I'm not starving myself. And a lot of my ladies that go through, when I work with them, they're like, I can't believe that I do not feel deprived and I'm losing weight. And it's like, yeah, because it's not about deprivation. It's about identifying what works for your system and then eat the foods that you can eat and that you love, and eat foods that you love that also love you back. And the thing is that you'll lose the taste for those things that you think that you still love. If you go through a time of nourishing yourself properly and then you go back to those naughty snacks, they're not going to hit the same way that they used to, because your body can feel it and your mind can feel it. You can feel it at a base, even cellular level. This food is not serving me anymore. It's like an ex, right? So we go through a time of like dysfunctional relationship. You break up with the ex, you go through a time of being like, oh, but I miss him, and maybe I can just play with him a little bit. You go through this horrible cycle, and finally you break it off. You cut him off on everything. You block him. You block him on Instagram. You block him on WhatsApp. You block him on your phone. He can't. And then you do interact with him later, and you're like, what? Did I even go out with this guy in the first place? What did I see in that? It's going to be the same thing with food, honestly, because we're just in this cycle of toxicity. Then we get out of that. Our inflammation goes down. We feel good. And I think a lot of people don't realize how good it is to feel good. We're actually at a base level of crappy. And then we feel a little bit less crappy. And then we're like, oh. But then if you actually get to a level of feeling good, and then you eat something, it's so much more apparent how horrible it actually makes us feel. And then you lose a taste for it. You don't want it anymore because it doesn't serve you. And it doesn't. So this is what happens in menopause. And I think this is also what can be quite difficult. It can happen with relationships. All of a sudden, this relationship isn't working for me anymore, whether it's friendships or partners, like that, it can happen. And I've really seen it in my friend group. I've really tailored it. I know who and what sort of energy I want around me. And if you don't have that, I'm not participating. I'm not participating in that anymore. And I'm not going to chase after those friends that just don't serve me anymore. You know, the same with my food. The same with my exercise, just what I want to spend my time with. I find that I used to chase after like going out all the time, and I still do love going out, but I'm going to go out and do the things that I love doing, which is line dancing. And not everybody loves line dancing, which is a shame. I feel sorry for them, but that's what I do. And so find what it is that you love, but then also I love not going out.
And just staying
in and saying no. And we need to say no, because in every no, there's a yes. So I'm saying no to this event, but I'm saying yes to my peace. I've said no to alcohol, and I'm not actually saying no to alcohol. I'm saying yes to a good sleep. I'm saying yes to a system that's not inflamed. I'm saying yes to brain clarity, because these are the things that alcohol does to me. It does all of this. I'm saying yes to a body that's free of joint pain. So there was one time I posted it actually on my on my Instagram about it, how I hadn't had alcohol for a while, and then I had 2 gin and tonics, and 2 days later I had such horrible hip pain. I felt like I was 70 years old. I was hobbling around, and I thought back. I was like, oh, it was the alcohol, because that's the only thing that I did that was off of what I normally eat. There is no way that in 48 hours I aged. Do you know what I'm saying? But a lot of us will, because we're in this level of we're constantly adding in all these inflammatory things, and we're moving into a system that is naturally inflamed, plus doesn't clean out the inflammation for us. And if we're not cleaning out the inflammation, then we just have this buildup of inflammation. And inflammation can show up as joint pain. And we think, oh, it's getting old. I've got these creaks. I've got these cracks. Oh, it's old. I've got this hip pain. That's not age. No. And there's no way I aged in 48 hours. There is no way. It was the alcohol. And it can happen even with sugar as well. It can cause these inflammatory flare-ups. So all of us, like, we need to take some time, and it's difficult, but we need to take some time for ourselves, pull back, find out what inflames us, what doesn't, and then embrace all of these other beautiful foods. Like, there's so much. I gave a list. I remember I went through a list with a client one time. These are all the foods you can eat, and this isn't even extensive. I said, think of all the meals that you can make from just these ingredients, rather than thinking about, oh, what I can't have. Oh, I can't have that. I can't have this. No, you can have all of that. And it's so much more appetizing if you look at all this beautiful food. So that's my advice, is find the way to move that you love, but you do have to do some resistance training. I'm sorry, it just has to happen. But then also find the foods that you love that serve you as well.
I have to ask you this question. You're a personal trainer. How do you look at the whole GLP-1 route that people are taking now for weight loss? And now with a lot of people saying for perimenopause and menopause, the whole microdosing is a wonder. What's your take?
My take is that a lot of influencers are acting like they're medical professionals, and I think that's wrong. They shouldn't be. I've seen it on influencers. They're trainers like me, and they have links to get your own GLP-1. I think that's totally, that's out of my scope, 100%. We should not be doing that. Also, I feel that from what I've seen with people using it, as far as like if fit like I am, and then so I'm going to speak about one lady in particular. I can't remember who I won't mention her name particularly because I don't even remember it. Menopause brain to my service right now. But she was already in a really great physical state, but she started just getting a little bit on her tummy, and she wanted shredded abs. And so she started taking GLP-1 so she would get that shredded ab look, okay? How many rap songs have been written about abs? None. They talk about the booty. So I'm sorry, but in order to have a significant booty, you need to have a little bit of a tummy. I'm just going to say that. So like, how shredded do we need to be? We don't need to be that shredded. So, but if you're eating in a way that serves your system, right, and you're figuring out what inflames your body and what doesn't inflame your body, and then you eat within that, and you exercise in a certain way, and you're saying no to certain things, then your body is going to react in a way that needs to be. So that's why, again, we're going to go back to why I don't take hormone therapy. It's the same thing for GLP-1. I don't want to spend money on something I don't have to. If I have to eat anyways, I'm going to eat in a way that serves me. If I have to exercise anyways, I'm going to have to exercise in a way that serves me. And this is the thing with GLP-1, is a lot of the weight loss that happens on those is actually muscle. So why would I take something that's going to eat what estrogen's already eating? Like, they're going to be snacking together. They're going to be like, hey, come on in here. This is awesome. Let's eat our muscle. And I'm working so hard in the gym for every single ounce of muscle. I am not going to take anything that's going to jeopardize that. I just won't. And I don't care if that means that I'm going to have a little pouch. Do you know what I mean? I do find, okay, so I'm going to say this. I do notice that when I get to a lower body fat percentage, I don't catch as many eyes as when I'm like in a little bit of a higher, because men like a feminine form. So it's okay to have a little bit of softness. Do you know what I mean? Like, we don't need to be shredded to be fit and healthy.
Yeah.
You don't. Yeah. So why? I don't know. How many rap songs written about abs? None.
I have to speak to you about sleep being one of the most important thing that you need to take care of to ensure that all the effort that you put in the gym and in the kitchen is helping you.
Right.
What's your sleep schedule look like?
Oh, lately it's been really bad. I don't know. I go through cycles, and this is the one part of menopause that has been the most consistent struggle, is the sleep. So I struggle with mid-sleep insomnia. I fall asleep really quickly. No problems getting to sleep, but then at about 3 o'clock in the morning,
the 3 a.m. friend,
bing, I'm awake. And I'm like, oh. That's frustrating. So I'm still struggling through that and trying to find a natural way to, and then also paying attention to maybe what I'm eating, what activities I'm doing before bed. And it really is a discipline because I fight with myself. And I'm like, but I don't want to do that. But I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so it is really hard, but it is really important to make sure that we're getting enough sleep because a lot of things happen during our sleep. Liver detox happens. Like everybody talks about, oh, I'm going to go on a detox diet. We don't need to go on a detox diet because our liver detoxes every day when we go to sleep. When we have mid-sleep insomnia, it disrupts the liver detoxification process. So we need to have those hours of sleep to help to promote the liver detoxification process. Also, the brain restructures and everything at nighttime. It rests. We take memory and move it into other parts of the brain. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. Our bodies heal at nighttime. Yeah. So in the gym, we're ripping the muscles apart. In the kitchen, we're giving our bodies the tools and the supplies in order to rebuild the muscle, but the muscle is rebuilt at night when we're sleeping. That's actually the muscle building time. So it is really essential that we get that under control, for sure.
So, they speak a lot about supplements and, red light therapy, to help you with sleep, and also a lot of sleep blankets coming into play.
Yeah.
Have you tried anything that you have found helpful?
For me, what's really been helpful is I put a fan on myself. I have it at the end of my bed, and I make sure that it's pointed right at me because for some reason, I don't know, does anybody else have this with their AC? Like at nighttime, it seems to go to sleep.
Yeah, if you've got the auto mode on,
yeah.
then yes.
Yeah, and then it goes to sleep, and then it gets stuffy. And then that's when I tend to wake up because it's just like, oh, I'm feeling a bit uncomfortable. Like anything will kick me out of sleep. It's so annoying. And so the fan being pointed on me just helps to alleviate that. I haven't tried a weighted blanket, but I think it's because I just run hot all the time. Yeah. And so I don't want to do that. I have heard about these, I haven't tried it myself, but these blankets that...
The cooling mats?
No, there's some sort
the
of
grounding
thing.
mats?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I haven't tried that. My friend has tried it. She says it's amazing. So I don't try that. I would try anything, like honestly. I've tried holy basil, didn't work for me. Ashwagandha, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. My magnesium mix, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I throw a little melatonin in there, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And then like another thing too, one thing that does work though, and this isn't something I've disciplined myself yet into it being a constant routine, but journal before bed, but not just like, maybe... Sure, you could have some thankfulness stuff in there, or journal what happened that day or whatever. But on one page, have the stuff that's bugging you, either stuff that's making you mad or stuff that you need to get done. So 2 columns. One is like a to-do list, because if you have it written down, then you don't have to, because I'll...
Or the 3 o'clock, you're not thinking about what all I have to do tomorrow when I wake up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't forget about that. Don't forget. If I write it down before bed, then it's like, okay, then I can rest because I know it's written down. I'm not going to forget about it, because this is one big worry in menopause, because I do forget stuff. And then I start thinking about things obsessively because I don't want to forget it. And then I can't relax because I can't forget this thing. So if you write it down, then you have it there. And even if in the middle of the night you wake up and whatever it is that's bugging you, write it down, and then you can be like, it's there, and now I can stop thinking about it. That's one thing. Another strategy that it's worked in the past, and then sometimes it doesn't. So again, it's always, sleep is just this weird thing. I haven't found one thing that works. But you think of a word that doesn't have multiple of the same letter in it. So say, for instance, and it has to have a little, what's a good example? Blanket is a bit long. Cat is a bit short. Apple has 2 P's in it, but that's fine. Let's just use apple as an example. So apple, so A, you would think of like ape, and then you picture the ape.
Okay.
And then P, peanut, and then you picture the peanut. And then P, panda, you picture the panda.
Okay.
And so there's something that happens with when you visualize it, it actually moves your brain into this dream state, and then it could help you to go into this dream state. Oh, they also have these podcasts that will just say boring things. And this, my friend introduced it to me. I did the West Highland Way recently. We walked 100 miles in 7 days. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it before. I mention it all the time. I'll ask my kids to do something for me and I'll be like, do you remember that time that I walked 100 miles in 7 days? Anyway, so we were on the thing and she would want to go to sleep, or we would wake up early in the morning and she'd go, I really actually just need another hour of sleep. And so then she would put this podcast on and it was just this guy talking about boring history. And he has this like really monotone voice and he just talks like in this really soft kind of thing. And then the lady went into the room and she does this stuff and then she picks up the paper and she writes it down. And then she takes the book and she goes and puts it on the shelf. And it's so unremarkable. But the way that he's talking, and it's just like, oh, you can feel yourself, because then it sort of just coaxes you into this. So really just throw any strategy at it, anything that works. And what works today might not work tomorrow, but then you have a whole little toolbox of things to try.
Yeah. I think the one thing that I try to do is the 4-7-8 breathing method.
Oh, yeah.
That works a lot because it kind of calms your nervous system down instantly.
Exactly. And our brains, again, because we're losing progesterone, once you understand what these hormones used to do for you, progesterone would calm our nervous system. So this is why right before your period, you want to sleep more, why you don't want to go out, why you become more introverted. It's a protective hormone, and it actually helps with sleep. And we lose that, and then our anxiety increases. This is why women in perimenopause and in menopause will report that all of a sudden I'm getting these really irrational fears. I'm so terrified of this that I never was terrified of before. I have these crazy paranoias and this isn't who I am. All of a sudden I'm scared of this and that. And we're not going crazy. It's just that we don't have progesterone there protecting us anymore. And so these irrational fears the anxiety can get out of control really quickly because we don't have the protection of this hormone anymore. So then we need to take care of ourselves. So things like that, where we do the breathing and then we can coach ourselves and we can tell ourselves everything is okay. We become our own mom.
Yeah, true. We spoke a lot, Dawn, but this kind of brings us to the last segment of the podcast. It's called the 1%.
Okay.
99% of our podcast is all about women wellness, but men are a part of our lives too.
Are they? Okay.
Unfortunately, yes. So we've dedicated just 1% to them. What is your 1% advice to the men in our lives? What can men do better to support women?
Bite their tongues and not react. Honestly, because like I said, because of the rage, and a lot of the women say, I don't know what's going on. And so they're just flying off the handle and just raging. I would say, don't hold that against her. This isn't her. And just hang on, and try to support her as much as possible. And it will end. Perimenopause isn't forever. So just like when my daughter was going through her teenage time between the age of 13 and 15, and she turned into this little monster. And I cried to my friends, especially friends who had daughters in their 20s. So they had already gone through this stage. And I was like, I don't even know who she is anymore. She's turned into somebody I don't recognize. And they said, just hang in there. At age 16, something's going to change. And it was like a switch just flipped in her brain. And all of a sudden, my baby was back. And it was like, oh, there's my girl. There she is. And that's the way that it is in perimenopause as well. It's another puberty. We're going through it. We turn into these little monsters. We don't even recognize ourselves. So, of course, our husbands and other men in our lives aren't going to recognize us either. Just hang in there. She's still there. You haven't lost her yet. She hasn't lost herself. Just help her ride this out. Bite your tongue. Don't take it personally. Just be like, yep, okay, sure. And like today, she doesn't like the way that you folded that tea towel. It's okay. Fold it the way that she wants it. Okay. Just like, it's okay. You're doing everything wrong. Everything's wrong. It's okay. It's all right. But it's not going to be like this forever. In a couple of years, in a few years, something's going to switch in her brain and everything's going to be peaceful, because I can attest 100% from this side. I'm now 2 years deep into menopause. I have never been at more peace in my life than I am now. I still get spicy, okay? I can feel my daughter over there going, and she's like, oh, you still get mad. Yeah, I do still get mad sometimes, but that's a natural part of being a human being. But I'm not raging the way that I used to. And there's a lot more peace on this side. So to the men, hang in there. It's okay. She's still there. She's still that beautiful person, and she'll come back to you.
Amazing. Any parting advice for our listeners, for the women, maybe to show them that there is a rainbow at the end of the roller coaster ride?
Yeah, take charge of your system, even if you haven't hit perimenopause yet. The sooner that you can start figuring out what inflames you and what doesn't, that is the biggest game changer. Biggest game changer, because it will deal with your brain clarity and all of it. It's just, honestly, there's nothing really that I'm doing now that I shouldn't have been doing in my 20s and my 30s. I wish that I had been making myself this kind of priority with my nutrition and appropriately nourishing myself and exercising and everything. I wish I had made all of that a priority in my 20s and my 30s. My life would have been so much different. So it's not ever too early to start doing that and making that a priority.
Yeah. If this is what you get in 10 years, so...
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So there's a lot of hope for the women who are listening today.
Yeah, there's nothing, honestly, a lot of women say they're scared of weightlifting because they don't want to get bulky, but it's actually the muscles that give shape to the body. And I often say to women, I'm like, I'm sorry, do I look like a man? Like, I'm scared to look like a man. I'm like, do I look like a man? They're like, no. I'm like, okay, well then. And I lift heavy. So, and it takes a lot for me to build muscle. So don't be afraid of it. It's only going to benefit you, honestly. Yeah, come and dance with me at the gym. It's a good time.
Where can the listeners get in touch with you?
My Instagram is at Moxie Menopause, Moxie. Moxie is a colloquial. It means that she has a voracious tenacity. You knock her down, she's just going to get right back up. And I can't think of a better way to describe a woman in menopause, because we really don't have a choice but to just get up and keep going, right?
Yeah.
So Moxie Menopause. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
Thank you, Dawn. It was amazing listening your side of the story. And it's a lot of hope that me, including me, who's in perimenopause, going to hit that phase soon. It's a lot of hope that we've heard. And hopefully the listeners are able to get a little bit more, more understanding of what this phase looks like.
Right. Yep, there's a lot of hope.
Big thanks to Dawn for such an inspiring conversation. And to everyone listening, if this episode made you nod, laugh, or think, hit the follow button and share it with someone who needs a little reminder that menopause doesn't need to be miserable. I'm Gayu Lewis, and until next time, menopause, why pause? Let's play.